Hi, Anastasia. Thank you for doing the interview with me. I'm so curious about your story, and it's so great to have you here at Tech People Code. So, give us a little bit of insight into who you are and what you do.
Hi, Franziska. Thank you for inviting. I was really flattered when you wrote me and super happy to share my experience and ideas. I'm living and working in Berlin. I'm originally from Ukraine, moved here about 4 years ago. My background is Python backend development, and I'm working as a team lead already for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. And you also already mentioned it, Python is your focus.
Yes.
Why did you choose that?
Oh, basically, that's a really funny story. I have a C++ background, to be honest. And in one of the companies, when I switched from game development, I wanted to try something new, something like business development, fancy company, probably a lot of experience. We started working as a team of 10 people in Kiev. It was like back then, a lot of years ago. And suddenly our customer decided that now the entire team of 10 super experienced C++ developers are Python developers. Yay, surprise! Everyone is so happy to start learning Python from scratch. We did it. And then in 1 year of learning Python and obviously writing code at the same time, we decided to sort of look back and check our Python code, which we wrote like back then at the beginning. It was so terrible, so terrible. So we started rewriting Python, and there was like continuous learning all the time. I didn't like my job after I switched from C++ to Python, but then entire community, Python is open source, it's like everything is already there. It's super easy to start. It was so friendly and nice, and I just decided to stay with it.
That is quite the unusual story. Usually I hear like things that I discovered the language and then I sort of became passionate about it. But you mentioned a really interesting element here, community. I had also seen that you are a lead developer. And what do I have to, what is that role? How do I have to imagine your day to day?
Basically, it's more like helping team as a servant leader, basically serving the team's needs. And it's different from time to time. Sometimes it's more about managing people, helping them to connect, to resolve issues, to simply talk to each other, maybe build environment, to make work safe for everyone, to speak, to share ideas. Sometimes it's just coding, which is also a lot of fun. Sometimes I focus on designing the software, basically, or thinking on architectural perspective. It's more like having a bigger picture on the software that we built in the company or in the team. And it really depends on the team. They're all different, and basically that's more like engaging them to work together and be happy.
So who do you work closely with? What are the people or who are the people you exchange most with on a daily basis?
It's a development team. Currently I have one small team. We are 3 people, but we're going to be like 6, 7. And this is like a full development team from beginning of the design until a production release. But the only thing that we miss DevOps, because this is like a separated team, so we don't have too many connections. And as I have a lead role, I have possibility to have daily syncs with them if needed, which is super nice. And we also have different guilds where we speak in between teams, and it doesn't have to be a lead to speak with others. Everyone can speak with everyone and learn more.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, having guilds. So do I have to imagine this as a community of practice, or is that regular exchange where you talk to each other about different topics, or what are the guilds supposed to do?
Guilds are supposed to help everyone to communicate more, because teams are self-organized and they're kind of couple to do one part of the job, but then also if there is one team and then the other team, they are developing entire big product, so they have to talk somehow, not only on the manager's level or not only just the leads talking to each other, but also team members if they have some issues, or maybe they have some question, or there is, for example, a task which is unknown for a developer who is working on it. This developer can bring this task on the guild community, depending on the topic, like data guild, or if there is agile question, or whatever question there is, there are different guilds, and then people are free to join and ask this question, or maybe just throw the question and then listen to any advices, answers.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. And also this aspect of obviously autonomous teams is very, very important, so that we live the agile mindset basically and can move swiftly. So when we look at how can I become a lead developer, how did you manage to do that? What kind of tips would you give people that want to be on that career path?
I started helping to build a safe environment in the team while not being a team lead, but just as a team member. That's how I learned. Obviously, I started reading a lot of books about soft skills, which are important for everyone. It doesn't matter if you are a team lead, tech lead, or not lead, just a developer. It's not just a developer. There are lots of skills to learn. And soft skills help people to connect, also help to resolve difficult conversation, because obviously there are lots of them. There are lots of issues in between team members, especially in code reviews. And I basically started helping people and also helping on the more like technical level, introducing some coding practices, maybe some team events. And that's how I started my leadership role. That's how I started learning. Actually, in the team where I switched to Python, there was a really interesting practice for everyone to try themselves in the leadership position. Our team lead, he was also a Scrum Master and the team tech lead. He was also on the servant leadership mindset. And he said that, well, let's try something new for the team. Since every week we had sort of sync-ups in the team, we decided to have some kind of try a team lead role. Everyone in the team could try being a team lead. It was like 1 week for trying out. We had 2-week sprints, so it was half of the sprint. There were responsibilities of the lead role to report to the real actual lead, because there should be a report to the people on the C-level anyways, and also help on the other tasks and lead the Scrum, also ceremonies. That was really interesting. It was my first experience when I didn't even think of leadership, any kind of soft skills, like nothing related to that. I had an accident because I was the only girl in the team. Obviously, everyone liked this fact and they tried to be funny. But funny from their perspective. From my perspective, it was a bit weird, let's say like that. And one of the developers, he wanted to make fun during this leadership sort of role. And he started having fun with not reporting, like, hey, I will not report. And I was like, I'm a leader, I will report you. That was sort of funny. And at the same time, I learned that, well, people are different. They can behave differently. It's not like you tell them what to do and they will definitely do that. No, you have to engage people and you have to make sure that people are interested in sharing feedback with you. That was a really interesting experience.
It sounds like it. Thank you for sharing that. When you started describing the role, what was interesting to hear from me was the fact that when we're looking at lead developer, it sounds very technical. And you underline that there are, you could call it professional skills or sometimes soft skills. That's sort of the more known aspect, that this plays a very important role in your day-to-day activities. And as you just shared, encouraging feedback. So when we look at encouraging feedback from others, what is maybe your secret or your approach to making sure that your team members are coming forward and are sharing feedback with you?
Basically, the secret is to build environment that when they're willing to share the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in one of the teams, we build sort of workshop for everything culture. Whenever one team member wants to introduce something or have an idea about something, just let's make a workshop. It's not supposed to be a workshop like people sitting writing the code. It could be more like a short presentation. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be a decision, but then everyone is feeling that they're free to share something. And the same in the feedback. For example, I had once an accident and between two team members. There was a code review, obviously. It could lead to accidents. They had an argument, and the problem was that they were both right. And I saw it in the comments, and they were trying to prove that, no, you're wrong, I'm right, but you are both right. They just didn't sort of listen to themselves and didn't listen to the other person. What helped was one-on-one with them. It doesn't have to be only from a team lead. It can be just one-on-one, just casual talk. We went outside, we sat on the couch, we had coffee, and then I started asking, so how are you? How do you feel? What went wrong? What do you want to improve? And then after this person told me the story, it was already obvious that this person was right and the other one was also right. It was already obvious, not for me, but for the person talking and going through the entire procedure. It was a bit funny, but then at the same time I said, yeah, you're right. Yeah, sure. Let's do it like this. And after this feedback was like, yeah, really, I'm right. Okay, yeah. Thank you for your feedback. So yeah, encouraging. What could be encouraging? It could be listening, active listening, asking more follow-up questions, and also making some action items. So whenever team is not happy, then there is a reason behind of unhappiness. So yeah, and my job is to find out this reason and fix it.
Thank you. I specifically would like to point that the team manager or team lead or however the role is called does not always have to sort of fix the situation, that it's upon the whole team to listen to each other and to make sure that you are able to meet in the middle, and that you as a lead developer are in the sort of also in the role of encouraging feedback and making sure that everybody can have that atmosphere to share things. What was interesting was that so far you already mentioned community 2 times. And you said guilds at your workplace and also getting into the Python community. What does community mean for you? What does it stand for you?
Community, I would say, is really important for me as Python developer because this is a community-driven language. That's why it's important. But also, as I was new to Python, I didn't know how to even start. And if there is no one experienced next to me, I cannot even think of where to start. How would I start? So what I simply did, I was trying to find a community. I didn't find anyone. So I took a book and then I started reading. In Berlin, situation is a bit different because there was back then in Ukraine and there were not so many Python communities specifically. So in Berlin, there are lots of communities, at least I think there are 5 Python groups. Now with all this situation, everyone is remote, so I can join also to different cities. Especially what helped me was a PyLadies community. Mm-hmm. It's a really awesome community. That's the first one when I felt really welcome because I wasn't already new to Python, so I knew Python when I came here to Germany, but I didn't feel welcome in all the communities. PyLadies were the most open, the most welcoming, and they also had a really safe environment for everyone. It doesn't mean if you are not a lady, then you're not welcome. No, everyone is, which I really liked. And they had so many workshops for beginners, for advancers, and this was awesome. It was like in my first year, I think, I discovered the communities.
And of course, we will link it in the description, the link to the group, so that people can find it and click on it and join. And you are also an organizer yourself. You organize PyBerlin.
Yes.
What does that mean? Oh, first of all, how did you come to be an organizer for the group, and what does it mean for you?
It's also an interesting story. I have all the stories for everything.
Do share.
Basically, I started my small talk. I wanted to give a talk for PyLadies. I gave a talk. They were so excited about this talk. They definitely loved it. And I said to myself, that's a pity. I spent so much time for this presentation, for preparation. I need to go somewhere with it. So I applied to conferences. And then after some time, I discovered that it's really interesting for everyone else. I gave a few talks. And then I decided, well, let's make a workshop. I have a lot of experience how to design applications from scratch to production. I can help newcomers to start learning something. Together with a friend of mine, she is a designer, we created the entire workshop, how to design application, how to think about architecture. And then after that, I was considering like, well, it went really well. I liked it. Community is super supportive. It was under Women Who Code or Women Tech Makers. I think Women Tech Makers workshop. They helped to organize, invite people. And despite the fact that it was 38 degrees outside, we didn't have air conditioner. It was the hottest day. It went really well. Everyone was kind of excited before, and then they did great projects. I was thinking to start a meetup, but I didn't know how to because I am not familiar how to, and I could not do that alone. After some time, after one of the conferences, I got invitation from one of the active member of Python community, Christian Barra. I got invitation to start our own PyBerlin meetup. It was 1.5 years ago. It was in December, I think. We got together and decided just to have one community where we help to learn Python. And we are also open and welcoming, more diverse, not just focused on some project specifically Python, but like everything Python related. That's how we started. And it's still going on. It's really nice. And we have, I think maximum we had about 70 online joiners, which was a record. We had also some stars from Python. It was really amazing. Still is.
Sounds like it. 70 having 70 online is a huge feat. That's like a really, really high number, specifically for now being a fully remote, having free remote events. It sounds to me like a community is very much a big part of your life, professional and private. And it sounds to me also that it's very fulfilling for you. And again, we will link obviously everything in the description so that people can find the group and join one of your amazing workshops. A little bit of a topic change. You are an expat here in Germany, and I'm curious, do you find that there are differences in the working cultures? Did you have, or do you have any challenges in specifically the German working culture and German tech? And how do you tackle that?
First of all, there were some challenges of learning German and learning German culture, especially at work. There was one learning which was in the middle, I think it was like 2 years after I started. It was a German company, and the challenge was that at the beginning they said that they're super open, a startup style, but then at the end everyone was speaking mostly German. I had a remote colleague from different countries, so we were speaking English, but at the same time it was mostly German community. It was kind of hard because I was still learning German, but still everyone was super nice. And once there was a challenge that I didn't book my Christmas holidays in between Christmas and New Year, and there was no one in the office. I didn't know that this is like a really big deal for Germany, that maybe entire world. But for me, we don't have this like this is a fixed holiday. You have to take it, otherwise you would be alone in the office. That's how I learned the culture of work-life balance as well. This was something that I didn't know before, because in Ukraine it's like work is everything for you. You're working hard and it's like your life because you love what you're doing. Obviously here as well, but at the same time your personal life is important as well. In my personal life, I also like organizing the meetup, writing some talks, sharing my experience, which is not work related. At work, I'm doing my work. Yes, that's really nice. I enjoy what I'm doing, but also personal life. That's something that I learned here in Germany.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I'm very much used to that, obviously, having lived here with some breaks in between in the UK and Spain, but very much having sort of this aspect of it's okay to leave at, let's say, 5 or 6 and then follow your hobbies and do some nice things for yourself, regenerate and so forth. Would you say this is sort of the strongest difference in the tech sector between your home country and Germany? Or is it something else where you say this is sort of a stark contrast between Ukraine and Germany?
I think the biggest difference is how German people start working, especially like in German companies, they start working really, really early, and then they finish already at 4 or 5 maximum. And then after 5, there is no one in the office. In Ukraine, especially if you're working with the US companies, as I used to work for, we start quite late. So we started like 10, the earliest, could be also 12 or could be 2, and then you're working really late. And then there's no traffic jam, which is fine. You're getting home not like in 2 hours, but in 25 minutes, which is also nice. Here, there is no such a thing, like everything is just completely blocked. You can easily get back home at any time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you find there any differences or maybe even similarities between the way teams work together, some of the approaches and the sort of also standards, technical standards that are being upheld?
Actually, yes. The team culture itself, it's quite similar. It's really open. In Ukraine, we kind of didn't have to be taught that it's free. It's fine to share your feedback. It's fine to talk to anyone, like to your boss, as if this boss is a team member. And here's just people. Some people, if they're coming from different cultures, they don't know that they can really share that, which is also weird to all the others. So that's taking some time to build. In Ukraine, we're pretty open. We can say whatever we think, and it will not be something offensive, because obviously that's work. That's nothing offensive to like against some people. It's just about code. Yeah.
So it's sort of broken down to the code level. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. Just to finish our interview, I would be interested in if there is one thing in life that inspired you. Can be professional, can be private. What was that, and why? Why did it inspire you?
Recently, after I already started speaking at conferences, I started posting some pictures on Instagram as well, because obviously when you're a speaker and you have professional photos, that looks awesome, and why not? And a friend of mine, we didn't speak for a really long while, from Ukraine, asked me that like, hey, I saw your profile in Instagram and seems to be that you're a Python profi by the pictures. Could you please help to learn Python? That really inspired me a lot, because saying that you're a Python profi only by looking at Instagram, that's really cool.
So the fact that this person sort of associated you with that and then turned to you for help, is that sort of what I'm taking away, or is it a different angle?
Yes, it's this angle, and also that people are open to ask for help, and also they would love to learn Python. This is also inspiring. Also, community part. helping to build community even further.
As an organizer myself, I can very much concur. This is for me also really, really thrilling to be able to exchange with people and to make sure that information flows and you can get updated, you can network, you can get help and support when needed. This is one of the most important elements of community.
Yeah,
Anastasiia,
exactly.
thank you so much for sharing your insights and some of your some parts of your story. It was really, really cool to get to know you and to hear about your story. And yeah, thank you very much for being here. And we will share all of the details as said in the description so that people can find you and can find the communities that you're involved in. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and make sure to check out the links in the description. Please also let me know in the comments if there's anything you particularly liked so I can produce more videos along those lines. And I'm looking forward to that.